Hi guys, welcome back to SSRG and your view. And as you know, all of us are here to also dish and talk on a topic that is really interesting. And I remain Fidel Nade. So with me here are my colleagues, and they would introduce themselves, starting from the one by my right.
Hi everyone, my name is Okolie Tochukwu. I go by the name TC, and
Oh,
yeah, I'm here in the US. Happy to be here.
okay. Yeah.
My name is Prince Chiagozieko, but people just call me Prince.
Okay. Okay. The next person, the final person, drum rolls.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel, and I'm a master's student. Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
guys. So we need to more concretely talk about how AI can help social work education and research.
I think that we can, just like when calculator became mainstream, there was a lot of pushback that is going to stop people from knowing how to do maths.
Yeah.
Even now that we still use calculator, I'm still bad at maths. So I don't know how that happened. So like with new technology, like even when street lights became a thing in London, people were like, night should be night, daylight should be daylight. So with every new technology, there's usually pushback. But it's a danger for you to be on the side, pushing back to the point that you get left behind. So social work as a discipline, if they strictly fight against artificial intelligence, we are going to be left behind. And for sure, you can't control what every social work researcher and student does. So it's important for us to accept that we would use these things and make the rules on how we are going to use them and how it's
Okay.
going to help us and the limits to what it can do. So
Yeah.
speaking about using it for social workers, like globally, it can give us ideas, it can help us. So maybe there is something that people have done in India, like social workers in India have done to help make lives better, but we are not aware of it.
Aware.
AI can help bring these ideas to our knowledge, right? So
Mm.
we can now try to think about how we can apply these models to but my challenge with regards to AI, especially as a Nigerian and talking about using AI for social workers in Nigeria, is that you have to recognize that the models are trained mostly with Western knowledge,
Okay.
right? Like there is an article that we can post at the under this video on
Green. Okay.
how
Yeah.
generative AI can be racist. The authors showed that in one of their studies, 94% of the knowledge that was used to train the AI was from the West. Only 4% was from Africa, right? So it will just give you like, because now in Africa we are trying to move away from the colonial models, the Western models that has not actually been very effective in what our social work practice and our social work education. We are trying to decolonize social work. So if we
Yeah.
rely on artificial intelligence, it would still be pushing those Western models
Or should
and
we create our
approaches.
own?
Yes, I'm not saying that we shouldn't use it at all. I'm just saying that in Africa and in Nigeria, we have to be very careful with how we use it. And in other countries, like in the research shows that in South America, there was like the AI that they tested didn't even use any knowledge from there to be trained.
Wow.
So you cannot just take what the AI gives you and try to assume that it was used. Uh, it has the knowledge
For
that you
better
need.
understanding for our audience, when you say trained, and when you ask AI a question by, we call it prompts, it says
Mm,
answers from sources from the web. Are you
mm.
saying that the website that it was fed to give output, they did not consider these places you are mentioning, or
Yes.
they
So
did not search them?
what the research was saying is that the people who produce this model, because they have to feed in data to the model for training, so that 94% of the data that
Mm-hmm.
was used to train the model was from the West,
No.
right? So, and that is why, like, sometimes AI can be racist in their answers
Yeah.
because a lot of Western discourse is
It's what it
racist in,
prioritizes.
yes. So that's why
Yeah.
we like
So
even
I'll go
using
I'll
it
go
in
quickly
Nigeria.
to Emmanuel. I'll go quickly to Emmanuel. I remember one statement you used. You're going to answer the same question, but let me remind you that you said during your undergraduate, you knew about AI, but you never used it because it looks like it's taking away your willpower to like your critical thinking. But now you're a social worker then and you're a social worker now. But now you use it, but to an
Yeah.
extent. So what's changed? Why did you use it? And how do you advise social workers in education and research to use it? Why is that?
So exactly, just like Prince has said, every technology always faces the challenge of pushbacks from
Mm-hmm.
people. But then the only problematic thing is if you continue to push back to the extent that everyone else pushes you back and you stay behind.
Oh.
So I know that how exactly I felt then was that using AI to do my assignment would be not living up to my responsibilities as a student, or perhaps a good student, if you want to see it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought if I use AI to do my assignment, it would be just like uh, being too lazy or not doing what I was supposed to do. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just because I didn't have good understanding of it, just like I said. So now that I've started using it, I've seen that I've used it in a lot of ways, and I've seen that it completely depends on how you use it. This is where
Mm-hmm.
it like this is what I would say to social workers or student social workers or any listener, any
For
viewer,
professionals. Mm-hmm.
professionals too, that it is not really AI per se is not the problem, but how we use AI, because it's just like the normal thing we say about computers, it's garbage in, garbage out.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are given an assignment to write something and you go give it to ChatGPT to do everything and you submit it, then it doesn't make sense to me, because I still insist that when you use AI too much, you stand the chance of not being that productive, because I believe that in the academia, we always need to develop ourselves all the time. And one of the ways to do that is when you have to sit down to think as a student or as a researcher. Maybe you have a topic you are working on, and at this point, okay, how do I craft my research question? You are thinking and
Yeah.
something is happening in your head. This is how to be a student. For me, I don't know for every other person. So using AI is not the problem, but sometimes people just copy everything the way ChatGPT gives it, not even noticing that the references are inexistent. And then only the lecturer or the teacher finds out, and then it looks like this is what you've been doing all your life. You don't do anything on your own. So what has
Actually,
changed since
personally, I
I...
don't think ChatGPT should be used to write assignments at all. Like
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
me,
Yeah.
it's a limit.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, it completely depends. So what I would say is it is not bad to use it, but what I consider like not cool for me is when this chat GPT is doing everything and you just copy it hook, line, and sinker, and that is it. Some people don't even proofread whatever the chat GPT has said,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
students now do it like the last minute. They don't do it until it's just maybe a night to submission and they put it there and copy everything. So this is the problem I have with it.
All right. So TC, let's move from that question and ask you a better one. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so how do you think AI then can be effectively integrated into social work curricula? Do you think it should be taught in schools, like how to use this AI? And if yes, how do you think it can be integrated?
So I'll go off of what Prince said, because
Okay.
AI is technology, and we can't continue being antagonistic towards technology because we are living in that world right now. I was part of the group that was very antagonistic towards AI use and all
Glad to have you
whatnot.
here.
Yeah. And as far as social work education and incorporating it into curriculum is concerned, I think one of the first things would be, and I know we'll still get to that, but just to use that as a side way, is to teach students the ethics of AI use. So the most important thing is that students do not depend completely on AI. So for example, in doing research, you already know the basics of research. You already know this is what is expected citation-wise. This is what is expected in writing a statement of problem, doing all those things. So you go through the rigor of that process, learn it. You start using AI. For me, I think people should start using AI more when they are advanced, much more advanced in their career, not at the starter level. So at the starter level, you should be more critical of the use. So like at the starter level, you can use AI, say 5%, but at an advanced level, you can use AI, say 85%, because then you can easily, just like what Prince said about AI bringing out colonialist results. In my position at this moment, I wouldn't know if AI gives, I wouldn't know 100% if it gives me colonialist perspectives. So that's the problem with students using it at this point. Not a problem, but incorporating how to like query this AI, teaching them the ethics of the use will be very important in the curriculum.
I don't know. I personally think 5% is such a little percentage to students. Why not say 50-50? Because I be AI champion. Why not say 50%?
See why I wouldn't say 50-50.
Okay.
Why that is dangerous is, for instance, let's start with the basic thing. You know that when you're an undergraduate, just like studying social work now at the University of Nigeria and Soka, you don't know how to do APA referencing. You're supposed to learn it for the first time manually, so you understand how to do it. So if you say 50-50, this implication, a student will say, why? Why do I have to do that? Now, ChatGPT, please arrange it. And then the person gets the feedback in 2 minutes. Then it is possible that they graduate and maybe all their life, they don't know exactly how to do APA. So this is the risk now. But when you, just like Jonathan has said, when you know how to do it, and then you start using AI, then you are even able to identify when AI is giving you something you don't want. But the problem is that some people don't even know that AI has given them what they do not need, and they just take everything because they never knew it from the beginning. You don't give what you don't have.
So I think we're all okay. I think we're all tilting into the moral accountability, personal accountability, because I could ask Prince, because currently he is the one that is also a social work educator, as he's also doing his. So how do you catch student, like catch in quotes? That's because if I use AI to do my citation, you don't know. So how do we curtail this? How do we are trying to integrate it in social work education and research. How do we help students to make them understand? Because I love AI. I don't want anybody to say anything bad about AI. So what are you even telling me? What are you telling me? So how do we do that?
That's an interesting question, because
I'm putting you on the spot.
Exactly.
As an educator.
Exactly. The number one thing is that a lot of universities, even here, have been like having some trainings and workshops trying to figure out how to manage this whole AI rush.
Yeah.
And if I tell you my strategy and my students hear it, they would, advance their they would advance their skill. Yeah. So, but the truth is that, to be honest, like if you have 40 students, right, if they submit assignments, you may not have the time to start using, like, because there are some apps and some websites that helps you dictate if AI was used for something. So you may not have the time to use all of them to, find out if AI was used. However, if you know ChatGPT and you know AI, sometimes when you read something, you will be like, this is AI, right? So because there is a format that ChatGPT always uses in presenting stuff. So, and if a student just copies that and put, you have a sense of what it is. Social work is very practical. Right now, a lot of the assignments that I design and I give to my students, it's kind of personal, right? So there's a lot of reflexivity in the assignments, right? So if a student just uses AI to come up with the assignment, when you read it, you will know that this person is not talking about something that is real to them, right? Because AI, a lot of the time, is vague. But if you are supposed to write something and your positionality in relation to what you are writing has to manifest,
Yeah.
AI cannot do that for you, not at least not yet. I know some people use other means, like some people are bringing back sitting in class and writing exams, so they will make sure you don't use AI. But I think this calls for more effort in how we design our teaching and our assignments. So it presents a new challenge for educators, and it's up to the educators to rise up to it.
But I really liked how you just provided a solution to still teaching students how to use critical thinking and cultural competence. You are trying to promote even in the era of AI, and that is so amazing. All educators watching and everybody in their school, tell your lecturers about this. So yes, let's go to TC.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I'm a student, and Prince is an educator. So in defense of the students, because I know sometimes, yeah, I'm going to defend the students here. You send something in, and then sometimes this built-in system that help detect AI, it brings result, false positives, telling you that it was AI generated. By the way, the AI checker is AI itself, checking another AI. So like there's a whole conflict there that I seem not to understand, because sometimes it brings false positives that's telling you that this is AI when it's actually not. So, like,
I've done a work that was me, and AI told me 15% of your work was AI, and I had the difficulty because yes, I used AI to check whether it's generated. My professors are very strict with AI, so I used it and I'm like 15% of your work. Thankfully, it showed me the aspect, and I was changing my own words. It's so difficult. So how do we balance this?
In addition to what Jonathan has said, now Prince said that you may not have time to use the apps to detect everything everybody has written. Fine, but that if you know how AI works, sometimes you see things and then you can say, okay, this is AI. So now I am thinking, for you to get to the level where you see things and know it is AI, does it not mean that yourself, you've been using AI to the veteran level? Now it means it only takes a thief to catch a thief. So what is
that's exactly what I said. You will be left behind if you don't use this technology, right? Even as an educator, right? So like when I saw Perplexity, I didn't use it for any of my work. I tried it out to just have a feel of how it works. So it's not, I haven't used it for anything productive for myself, but I need to be updated on what's going on. And the thing about like those AI identifying apps is that the more those apps are improving, is the more the AI is improving in how they present their results to overcome those apps, right? Even you as a person with human eyes, you cannot also be perfect in your ability to dictate. So that's why I said like it's important for us to re-strategize how we examine students. For instance, we do field work, which is an integral part of social work education, right? If somebody uses AI to write your field work report, you should be able to dictate that, right?
Yeah.
Because it should be their own personal experience. It should be practical. So the way we design, like how we test students, maybe it's time for us to advance it and use advanced methods.
Yeah, educators should be trained on the use of AI because I have a lot of professors that cannot catch me. If I use AI very well, and it's not like shading them, they are really not in that technologically advanced. I mean, I have professors both home and abroad. It's not only, don't think it's only home, no.
Yeah.
Anywhere I've gone, like they also find it difficult to even use still projectors, like some technology things. And imagine them dictating I used AI. They can't, because even AI is advancing more to even find AIs that hide that I used AI. So the more we get smart as students and researchers, educators should also get ready to train. Do not, because I find it funny that my professors will like, do not use AI. Do not use AI in every single assignment. And it's laughable for me because it doesn't stop all of us.
One of
It
the
doesn't
things that
stop
I
anybody.
do is at the beginning of the course, I make it open to the students that I'm not fighting against the use of AI. And I tell my students my expectations on how AI should be used because I want the best for them. And if AI is going to improve their work and be the best for them, fine. And especially in a place where there are a lot of international students who English is not even their first language. So they might need AI in one way or the other instead of falling behind, right? But I make it clear how my expectation of how they should use AI. And I also make it clear that I want you to be upfront about your use of AI. So if we can be sincere, like if the students can be sincere, this is how I used AI. Like if they used Grammarly to edit something then I would want to know ahead of time. I wouldn't penalize them for that. So yeah, that would be, like, we have to be sincere in how we use these things.
Let's go to the future directions. How do you think social workers could contribute to the development of AI systems that are responsible, transparent, ethical, and accountable?
So how do we do AI design in a more sustainable way?
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Because there are a lot of ethical issues around AI. Again, some AI answers can be racist in design, can be homophobic, can be sexist, and all these things, right? So social workers being involved in the design and having understanding of systemic issues and everyday forms of oppression that marginalized group face can help in designing AI in a more ethical way. So social workers should be involved in the training of the AI, even in moderation of the answers, because in the training, there are people whose job is to, like, at the training stage, whose job is to see the answers that the AI produce, right? So social workers should be part of that because they have deep understanding of systemic issues. Another thing that I think social workers should be involved in is in the producing of the knowledge that is used to train this AI. Like I said earlier, if 95% of knowledge used to train AI is from the West, it means that social work knowledge used to train AI is largely from the West. So if African social workers are not producing enough knowledge that is culturally grounded, what are we going to use to train the AI, right? So if we as researchers do not produce good culturally based knowledge about how things are and how things should be done, then we are not playing our part. Even, like, you don't have to be directly working with engineers and IT personnel, but you producing good knowledge in Africa and about African Black people and like different groups of people. And this knowledge, if they are used to train this in generative AI, would help in making it better.
I mean, why Prince was talking, I was just thinking about, so like the term inclusivity just came to mind. So I'm currently getting an education in gerontology, and so we work with older adults. So it's a concern for every population that social workers actually interact with: older adults, children, youth, and all whatnot. Like the most basic thing, for example, AI will produce something and give you words like elderly. And in gerontology, we all understand that that's ageist and not acceptable. So, yeah. So if those kind of words come up, it then means that the AI is not trained enough to be language conscious, how much more culturally conscious and
competent
issues that come up. So I think this is where social workers across all areas of social work practice need to come in to like be part of that, training the AI to produce information that are not segregating or discriminating in any way.
Okay, all right, thank you. Emmanuel, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, since mentioned, sometimes AI producing, like giving you feedback that could be racist or homophobic or sexist or anything. And that is true, because now I have this experience where I once tried to use AI to generate a random picture of migration. I just typed in, give me a picture that depicts migration. And at least the first 3 pictures that popped up were black people traveling some bushy, lonely paths that looked like the wood. And then it came to my mind, what is this? Why does this represent migration? Now I decided to try something different. I typed in, give me a picture that would depict refugee situation, like refugees and situation. And I saw a host of black people living in dilapidated places, some people carrying their luggage, and I'm like, okay, because I even know that currently, as at today that I'm typing this thing, the greatest refugee situation is not even from Africa.
Oh.
One, I don't have a problem with all these things because I know it.
I have a problem with that.
No, relax. I don't have a problem with like AI giving me that, but I have a problem with like why AI is giving me that, because I know that something is responsible for that. So this is where the social work we are talking about comes in, because we need to participate in even the training and generating the data that should be used to train the AI. And also, most importantly, this is more reason we should not restrict our students from using AI. Because when you do that, you are not even giving them the chance to see what we are seeing currently. And then the more they see it, the more they see reasons to also stand up to like work towards changing certain things about this AI.
And for an added point, Ima is not just searching that pictures because he's trying to do it. He's a scholar in migration. That's what he's studying. So he's not just doing it because he's playing around. And I'm studying educational inequality. And yes, I browsed and said it was in Canva. Canva had AI that you can generate images with. And I'm like, please generate a class of poor people in a class that has no lack of structural amenities and all. And the picture was every black person that had features of Africans, not black people, or black Indians or black other people, features of Africans. And funny enough, I was not studying, the person I was studying that was suffering educational inequality, they were not blacks. So why was the race not mixed? Why is AI always being black? So
the thing is, like, for instance, like when CNN or like the major media, their image of Africa that they present to the world is people who are suffering and people who are poor. And this is what AI is trained with. So when you talk about poverty, when you talk about migration issues, when you talk about social ills, automatically it pops up these things. So like if there are no social workers moderating these things, right? For instance, if somebody talked about searching image of a doctor treating a patient, and all the images it generated was a white doctor treating a black or brown patient, right? And it's funny because if you go to some cities in Canada, like Lethbridge, most of the doctors are black and brown people. So it doesn't make sense that the reality is that most of the doctors right now in the West are black and brown people. But this AI, because it was trained with that mindset that the saviors are the white people, it still generates these images, right? So there's an article that I read recently. It says AI generates covertly racist decisions about people based on dialect. So the article was talking about how your use of language would determine how the AI gives you an answer. So for instance, if you're searching for jobs and you use language that AI would associate with black communities, and it provides you with lower paying jobs. But if you use more posh language, it provides you with results of higher paying jobs that you can apply for. So there are small details within AI technology.
Inequality.
Exactly. That requires like social work intervention in addressing.
I also think social workers should be involved in this AI, test it and see the problems it has and write about it, research.
Yes.
And also talk about it. We can call out this, not call out, research calls out, but not in the one of social media. No, research calls out in the right way. And people can even sue AI when they do these things. You have the right to say this thing you generated is wrong. This thing.
I mean, that would be
make some money.
challenging, but we can dream.
So like social workers can like test the AI. So that's why you don't need to run away from it. Educators, students, text it and be like, and you're like, oh, this is this, and you write about that in a good research. That's why you also need critical thinking to analyze, bring these things together and know their problems and talk about it. And then we'll get invited in the possibilities of improvement on some of them.
Can I add something? Like,
yes, you can.
The practical implication of like social work, for example. So Yema talked about how he searched about refugees and immigration and all whatnot, and it brought up issues that were not true at the moment or for his research. So that's really calls attention to programs or intervention that we as social workers come up with. Because if Ima, as an immigration scholar, decides to run with that information, creates intervention based on that information from AI, it creates a problem. When the problem AI is giving him is not even the problem. So that's why social workers need to really be involved in like AI development and all.
Wow, thank you guys. Interesting conversations we've had. This is a very, like, it's still open. You can talk about it in the comments, and there are a lot of things that we have left unsaid. We want to hear from you guys, and we look forward to interacting with you. Ask us some questions, reach out to some of these people. We're going to add their handles in the videos when they come in, so you can go to their DM and fight with them well, or in our comment sessions. We take all the hits. Thank you, guys.
We'll also upload some articles if you want to read more on this discussions.
See you guys, and make sure you use AI like I do always.
Thank you.
Ciao.